Afternoon, everyone. We would like to welcome Frankie Capan to the 3M Open. Frankie, welcome, Minnesota native and making your third PGA Tour start. I want to just start with some opening comments about the excitement for the upcoming week.
No, I'm really excited for this week. Whenever the last 6 months has been kind of a whirlwind for me with traveling, just playing a lot of Corn Ferry events. I was able to punch a ticket into the US Open, so played there. But really been on the road so much lately, so to not only be at home but also be participating in my third PGA Tour event, it's been a blessing. I can't thank Hollis Kavner and Mike Welch enough, and really just happy to be here and pumped to get the week started.
I guess, when did you find out or add this into your schedule about playing here?
Yeah, so Mr. Welch called me actually while I was in the hotel room in Los Angeles for the US Open, and yeah, I was kind of on the fence about it. I was extremely thankful and blessed to receive the sponsors exemption. However, with where I stand on the Corn Ferry Tour points list for the year, I'm kind of right on the edge of just punching my ticket to getting a PGA Tour card for next year. So I was kind of on the fence for a while, but made the decision last Wednesday before the Corn Ferry event last week, and was really excited about it. And like I said, just excited to get the week going.
Kind of like you mentioned, close on that threshold for Corn Ferry Tour points, number 34. How's your season feeling so far on the Corn Ferry Tour?
Yeah, it's been going well. We've had some good weeks and weeks where we've learned a lot. I think, like I stated earlier, it's been a lot of traveling, a lot of learning throughout the year. I feel like we haven't had a week yet where we've kind of hit it really well and had kind of the short game that I'm accustomed to having week in, week out. But overall, we've had some top finishes and right on the edge of getting that PGA Tour card for next year. So just hoping to finish the season off strong and be back here next year, not as a sponsor's exemption.
And someone you know very well on the bag this week with your mom. What's that dynamic like, having mom on the bag?
It's been pretty special for us. Originally, she was supposed to be just a fill-in caddy, and the more success we had, the more we realized that she should just keep staying on the bag. Obviously, when we went through Q school and only lost to 9 people, it was pretty evident that she should stay on the bag for a little longer. I tried another kid actually from Minnesota, and we had a couple good finishes, but found my way back to her, and then we had a nice finish in Raleigh at the Corn Ferry event there, and then the next day punched our ticket to the US Open. And then once we did that, I figured, better just stick with her for the time being and see what we can do.
Like we said, third start here. What have been the big takeaways from back in 2016 making your debut to just the US Open a couple months ago?
Sorry, say that again.
Like, what were some of the big takeaways or learning experiences from those starts?
Yeah, I think I really learned a lot from the 2016 PGA Tour event in Puerto Rico. My main goal there, teeing it up I'm a young kid. I was a 16-year-old playing in a PGA Tour event. I was really focused on making the cut, and I thought that would be a really big accomplishment for me at the time. And if I were to go back and do it differently, I would definitely try and focus more on doing my best and really kind of looking at the guys that are leading. Because I was looking at the cut the entire week, I found myself right around the cut line the whole time. Ended up missing the cut by 1. So after that week, I just made it. I just kind of told myself that no matter what event I'm playing, I'm there to win and always want to do my best. So even didn't play my best at the US Open, but even then I was focused on winning, and kind of same thing for this week. I have a lot of confidence in my game and been playing some good golf. So just excited to get the week going, and yeah, just really learn from that experience. You tend to, wherever you kind of put your focus, you kind of find yourself there, is what I've learned. And at the end of the tournament, I always want to be at the top, so mainly just focusing on that's been helpful for me.
Perfect. I may have a few more, but we're going to start off with Paul here.
Hey, Frankie. Good to see you. Just wondering, with KFT and making that decision, what ultimately were the factors that made you think, okay, yeah, I'm okay with foregoing this week on KFT to play 3M?
I think one of the big ones is if I were to play the Corn Ferry event this week, I would probably end up playing 7 weeks in a row, which can be a lot of travel, a lot of golf, and this week it is nice because even though I'm playing, I'm also staying at home. So even though I'm putting all my energy into this tournament this week, at least I'm able to spend some time with my family and sleep in my own bed, which I haven't had the opportunity to do that in a while. And also with the points I've accumulated throughout this year, and with the way I feel like I've been playing, I'm confident that I'll be able to get the sufficient amount of points in the last 7 events to close out the year.
It's a position other KFT guys have been in before. Did you consult anyone, talk to anyone to get some advice on how to handle that situation?
I did. I talked with Kevin Doherty a little bit in Colorado. I asked him, the main questions I had for him was I wanted to ask him how the course was for this week, like the week that I would be missing. And he said it was a good course and would set up well for me. But at the end of the day, I feel really inspired to be here. And you know, I've played in the Monday qualifier here a couple times, narrowly missed a few times. So this event's always been kind of on my radar, living 15 minutes away. I've always kind of dreamed of competing in this tournament. So when the opportunity came to life, I figured I really couldn't pass it up.
We've seen a flux of young talent come through this tournament, use it as a springboard. Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, last year Tom Kim. What could a good showing this week do for your career at this event this week?
Yeah, no, it would be great. Not only would it propel me to be playing out here more often, but also just like competing in the U.S. Open or PGA Tour events, or really just on the Korn Ferry Tour. There's a lot of talented players there. Here is much the same. Obviously, it's one of the best events that you can play in. Really just kind of building some momentum and just getting more experience playing against these guys is really helpful. Just kind of seeing kind of where you align and really just, I don't know. That's about it.
Frankie, I'm sure on the road you've gotten into a nice routine as far as what you want to do week in and week out. There have probably been disruptions to that, you know, with the sponsor stuff and also with just being home, being around family more. How have you managed that and managed to kind of stay in your routine of how you play the best?
Oh, yeah, sure. I think this week it was nice. I think so I missed the cut last week in the Korn Ferry Tour event, and I think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise just because I was able to get in Saturday night and just kind of get all my ducks in a row a little bit. The nice thing about being here and having a lot of people here is I'm able to delegate a little bit of some jobs to my parents, or obviously mom's doing a fair amount of work this week. But the usual thing is you kind of check into your hotel, get groceries, scope out the course, where this week I wasn't too concerned about that, sleeping in my own bed. Obviously have a bunch of food at home. But yeah, so that it kind of eliminated that. And then in terms of just the distractions of some family and friends, I've tried to keep it limited a little bit. I think they all understand this is a big week for me, so they're not pestering me too much, and I'm excited to see them out here Thursday and Friday.
How many times have you played TPC Twin Cities in the past?
I played it for the first time 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so I actually hadn't played it much, but the first time I played was, I think, the day before I left for the Colorado Korn Ferry event, and really liked it. Loved playing it. Feels like it sets up well for my game and some of the shots that I hit. And then played Monday in the 18-hole Pro-Am, and much the same. I really enjoyed it, and then played 9 today in the Pro-Am. I felt like I knew the course well enough where I didn't need to play yesterday, just practice for a little bit, but I really enjoy it, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get after it.
And then I think even heading into the U.S. Open, you said you felt you owed it to like Minnesota to go out and try to win. This being here obviously would mean a lot just to have success in a PGA Tour event, but would it be even more special to do it, you know, like 15 minutes from home and in front of a bunch of home state people?
Yeah, I mean, to win a PGA Tour event in any state would be something special, but to do it here, it would be a little ridiculous. Just with, I mean, I'm sure we'd be celebrating probably into Tuesday of next week. So yeah, it would be something special, but obviously I know that opportunity is out there, but really just trying to stay focused here in the present moment, talking to you guys and getting my prep in tonight and to where we're ready to tee it up tomorrow morning.
Having your mom on the bag, off the bag, back on the bag, how much has your guys' relationship grown with just, I mean, the amount of stressful situations you're in and how serious this is? How has that helped your guys' relationship?
Yeah, it's been great. I think the one thing that's important for us is once we leave the course, we kind of try to turn it off because things can get a little, I wouldn't say heated, but can get a little tense out there. But I think, whenever you have some good dialogue and even fighting or bickering at times, your relationship can grow deeper because you start to understand how each other interact and the words you like to use, and really just she's kind of understood how I like to play the game more, what shots I like to hit at certain times, and overall we've kind of just gotten in a good process and good mojo going to where when we're on the course it's all go, but then when we leave the course we like to turn it off, and most weeks I actually haven't stayed with her on the Corn Ferry Tour. I'll stay with a buddy and she'll stay with my dad, so it's nice to be able to kind of turn it off like that, but then when we're on the course obviously it's all go, but I feel like our relationship has only gotten better. Now there are some days if we have a tough day that we want our space a little bit, but if anything I only see our mother-son relationship getting deeper and better as the time's gone on.
You mentioned learning from your past starts. When you look at this week, what would you consider to be a successful week? Like when you set goals, what does that constitute in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I told you my goal wasn't to win this week. I think I try to hold myself to a high standard, and my dad always says if you're not winning, you're learning. So really, no matter what happens this week, it's going to be a special week. I'm going to have a bunch of family and friends out here competing. I would say, and I don't know what you consider the U.S. Open, but as a professional, this would be my first PGA Tour event. So to do that 15 minutes away from my house is a very unique opportunity. But yeah, I know I'm going to learn a lot this week and have a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, I would say winning is my ultimate goal whenever I tee it up. I don't care if I'm playing with 3 of my buddies up the road at my home course in the U.S. Open or in a Corn Ferry event. That's always kind of my goal, and then set that aside and then just kind of focus on the process that puts me in the right spot to accomplish that.
All season on KFT, looking through it, you've basically been right around 30 all year. How has that been just mentally when you're one good finish away from being top 10, but if you miss the cut, maybe you fall back to 45th, you're just always just teetering right on the edge. How has that just kind of been mentally on you this year?
Yeah, you betcha. I feel like I've been just kind of right on the edge ever since the second week. I had a decent finish in the Bahamas the second week. I think I came in 15th or 17th or something like that, and I jumped up to 37 and have been anywhere from 30 to probably 43 the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 weeks. But I'm obviously aware of where I'm at, but I think I would drive myself crazy if I was thinking about it all the time. Really, like I said, just trying to stay present in that moment, just trying to execute the next shot to the best of my ability. But yeah, I mean, I try not to check it just because I feel like it's a slippery slope to kind of get into. But yeah, I think a win would take care of a lot of things for me. So really just trying to put myself in a position where we have the opportunity to do that, and I think everything will take care of itself.
Frankie, it seems like there's a lot more talent getting on tour nowadays from mid-major schools. Obviously, you being an FGCU kid, just wanted to get a little bit about your decision to go to a smaller school, and then also kind of the level of play jump as you've gotten into the professional game.
Yeah, no, I think you are seeing a lot of talent. I think you're seeing a lot of talent at every level now, whether it's mid-major schools, bigger schools. Obviously, Ludwig's been doing some impressive stuff this year after getting his PGA Tour card through PGA Tour U, which is really cool to see. But yeah, I think really so many guys in college are super talented. You're seeing guys like, I'm close with Michael Thorbjornsen. He almost won the Travelers last year as an amateur, came in fourth. So I think it's really cool to see. But yeah, so after being at Alabama for a couple years, I knew it probably wasn't the best fit for me moving forward. And then I had two really close friends actually from Minnesota, Van Holmgren and Brady Madsen, that were transferring down to Florida Gulf Coast. And Van, I've been close with Van and his family since 7 or 8 years old. And he actually stayed with me and my family during the first little stretch of COVID. He was stuck in Minnesota, and he was able to work his way down to Arizona and stayed with us, so he was able to play golf. And he and I hadn't seen him in a while, so he and I kind of bonded pretty well then, and that's when he introduced me a little bit to FGCU. And at that point in time, I was kind of on the fence about transferring, and after talking with him for a while, I thought it would be best for me in my journey to kind of step sideways over to FGCU, and obviously had some great success as a team. I think when we showed up, when Van, Brady, and I showed up, we were ranked 257th in the country, and then when we all left, we were ranked 42nd. So we were able to kind of turn that program around, and that was something special that we were able to do, and still talk about it to this day a little, and am in contact with Coach Dan as well. So that was something neat. It was definitely a lot different than, my freshman year playing at Alabama, being ranked 4th in the country at the end of the fall. We were all kind of eyeing that national championship, and it was a little bit of a different kind of mindset switch when I did make that transfer. However, I feel like it served me well, and I feel like I learned a lot about life then. At a mid-major school, I feel like you don't get as much, special treatment as you do at Alabama, so you kind of have to go and get it. Like, no one's making you food 24/7, and you kind of just have to figure things out and figure out how you need to get better. And I think it served me well, and put me in a spot where I was able to kind of hit the ground running when I decided to turn pro this past fall.
And what about on the course? What are the biggest differences between being a little fish in a big pond like at FGCU or a big fish in a small? Whatever I'm trying to say. What are the differences? Are
you talking specifically like on the course?
Yeah, just on the course, going from a big program into a smaller program where you're maybe like a headliner, so to speak.
I wouldn't say it was a whole lot different for me per se. I mean, I guess after each round, when you kind of look at the leaderboard and kind of in the middle of the pack, just kind of having a little bit of a balance to it. Like when I would play at Alabama, and at the end of the round, if we weren't winning or inside the top 3 or 5, there was almost a little bit of a disappointment versus just realizing at FGCU that things weren't always going to go perfect, and we're working on building something. And I think that's something that we all took a lot of pride in. I think our first event, probably came in 7th or 8th in like a 10-man field, and neither of us played well, but also just kind of realizing we're here for something bigger than just ourselves. We're here to build this program, do the best we can, and I think we definitely succeeded in doing just that. I know they're getting a lot of kids, a lot of younger commits that are some good players, a few of them from Minnesota as well, which is really cool to see. I know they want to get out of the cold a little bit, but I think just kind of realizing that things aren't always going to go perfect, and just kind of having a little bit of a mindset switch where we are here to win, but we also understand that this is a process and it's going to take some time.
Thank you, Frankie. The purse is a little bit different this week. The purse is compared to the Corn Ferry. Do you think about that, or is that in your mentality at all? What you're playing for?
I used to think about it. Yeah, I think the more we play for, the more I actually think about it less, if that makes sense. To start out the year, I would be finishing Corn Ferry events and understand, if I birdie these last couple holes, it could be the difference in me making, $5,000 or 25 grand. But I think the more we've played and the higher finishes that I've had, and especially the more we play for, it gets a little ridiculous, the money that we play for. So I've kind of just been able to tune it out a little bit more lately, which is nice. I think in this game the numbers in the last couple of years have been kind of staggering in the sense that it's so much money that it's not really even worth thinking about. I couldn't even tell you how much the winner gets this week, for example, but really I feel like there's a lot of things that I've learned in my first year as a professional, and one of them is just kind of being able to tune out the distractions and little things that maybe take away from me playing my best. I feel like just the bigger tournaments you play in, the more you learn not only about your game but also yourself mentally. I think this is one of the most difficult games mentally, just because you kind of have to be on at all times, or at least figure out ways to kind of fine-tune your own little machine and ways to get the best out of yourself. And one of them is really just focusing on the shot at hand and not letting outside factors dictate what I'm thinking about a whole lot.
It's only money anyway. It's only money anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You can't take it with you.
One last one for me. Read a tidbit. Wanted to hear the story about one of your first jobs was valeting at a golf course.
Yes.
Was that Silver?
It was. Yeah, I valeted at Silverleaf. So my junior year of high school, I injured my hip and wasn't able to play golf for, I think, roughly 6 months. So I ended up working at Silverleaf. I valeted cars. I actually valeted Adam Hadwin's car and John Rahm's car.
Adam's in the field this week.
I saw him. Yeah, I saw him out there on the putting green. I talked with him a little bit at the U.S. Open. Didn't talk with Rahm at all. I like to respect those guys' space, just because I know they get a lot of people that want their attention, and the bigger events you play in, the more I get that, a little bit of that as well. So it's nice to just kind of respect their space. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to valet there for a little bit, valeted for those two guys. And when I was pulling their cars around, I was kind of thinking, man, like I want to be competing against these guys here soon, and always believed that I would. So now that we're here, it's kind of a cool little full circle moment. It was a non-tipping club. It was non-tipping.
Alrighty, that's all the questions we have. Thanks for your time and good luck this week.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. Skull.
Didn't wreck the car.